Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. What a week it's been. And just to let you know, this is my third attempt at making this video. I even put it live for about an hour and then thought to myself, I don't like what I've said there. It just doesn't represent both headsets very well, because this is a really tough video to make. So I'm now trying to do it for the third time. So hopefully third time's a charm. And also I'm using a different microphone. I'm using my mod mic, which hopefully will sound better. So I'm in the Pimax Crystal Light at the moment, and this is the first time I've used it in about a week. And I've got to say, first of all, that I am absolutely blown away yet again with the image quality of this headset for the price. There's no doubt about that in my mind at all. And since I have been using and I've been preoccupied with the VRFSG, which has now had a massive price hike, by the way, but that's another video for another time, and the Somnium VR1, I thought I would go back to the Crystal and think, it's alright, but now I feel quite spoilt. But not at all. This really does stand up really well to them. So I thought it's about time I made a Somnium VR1 versus Pimax Crystal Light video. Bit of a strange comparison, given that one is a super high-end, pretty much, prosumer level, and then the Crystal Light, on the other hand, is more affordable. Of course, it is still expensive, but for what you're getting, and I can't say this enough, 35 ppd QLED 2880 by 28 display, that is a good price, because it does share the same panel as the Somnium VR1, and I think this is one of the things that people are getting quite confused about. So let's start with the image quality, and I'll go through this as quick as I can. Right then, so the comparison between the Crystal Light and Somnium VR1 in terms of image quality, there's actually a reasonable jump in clarity with the VR1, even though it's using the same panel. And it's great to see that even at the FS Expo in Las Vegas this weekend, which I'm gutted I can't go, people are starting to realise that as well, as, you know, the general public are now getting their hands on this headset to try out. So the reason why the VR1 is sharper is down to a number of factors coming together. First of all, it's the NVIDIA sharpening algorithm that they are using in VR, which I have no idea how they're doing it, but it does play a big factor in making that panel really crisp and clear. Also, the brightness of the VR1 makes a difference, because it's quite funny. One thing I do notice, going back to the Crystal Light, it does feel a bit dim in comparison. And then there is the aspheric lenses, which in the VR1 are better. There's a better sweet spot, and that does make a difference when factoring the field of view as well. So those things combined make the VR1 sharper than the Crystal. Now, in terms of percentages, say the Somnium VR1 at 80% resolution with 25% sharpening, which I do recommend, then I'd say it's about 15% sharper than the Crystal Light at native resolution. But if you change the Somnium VR1 to run at native resolution with NVIDIA sharpening, then in my opinion, the sharpness of the VR1 is about, at least 30 to 40% sharper, I would say. Definitely. It's quite shocking. And one thing that does surprise me about the Somnium VR1, which isn't the case with the XR4, even though you get a wider field of view, the clarity is still sharper. It doesn't seem to make a difference. So there we have it. So really, at the end of the day, if you want the sharpest consumer headset on the market, it is the VR1. Simple as that. Let's now talk about audio. Now this is where the Pimax Crystal Light starts to win back a few points, because this has integrated audio, and funny enough, I am testing out the S-Mass at the moment, which is the standard audio. Now it does lack bass without a doubt, and volume. It does sound a little bit tinny and trebly, and probably very similar to, funny enough, the XR4 or Quest 2. Doesn't sound as good as the Quest 3, but at least it's there, as I say. And Well, the thing is about the Crystal, you can upgrade to the DMAS speakers. And the great thing about that is you don't have to upgrade straight away. You could do it later on. And then you have literally one of the best audio solutions in the business. It sounds really, really good. Now, of course, with the Somnium VR1, you don't get any integrated audio, but you do get lots of USB-C ports and a jack, I believe, so you can add your own solution in. However, I do feel it would be nice if the Somnium VR1 would ship with earbuds, like the Vario Aero did. Comfort is also an interesting one, because for me at the moment, I find the VR1 too front heavy. It's okay for the first 20 minutes or so, but when I'm doing a full flight, after about 45 minutes to an hour, I've had enough. But, you know, I haven't got the final version yet, so that is still work in progress. And Arthur and the team, as you know, have listened to my feedback and are changing some things to make that better. But as it stands at the moment, well, the Crystal Light is by far not just comfier than the VR1, it's one of the most comfortable headsets I've ever worn. It's right up there with the XR4 and even the big screen beyond. It's superbly comfortable. What else have we got here then? So software. In the old days, I would probably say that the Pimax Crystal software wasn't that great, but actually things have changed with the Pimax Crystal Light. Not having a battery, an XR2 chipset, it's a lot less complicated and it hasn't put a foot wrong. Very much like the Somnium VR1. So in terms of reliability of the software, surprisingly, they're both as good as each other, which is a massive win for Pimax. Well done. Now let's talk about build quality and the QC process. Well, Pimax themselves has admitted that their quality control process needs improvement, and I really do feel that it's one of the big sort of reasons why you would get a VR1 over a Crystal Light, because the VR1 quality control is pretty insane. It's an over-engineered headset in the sense that it is really truly built to last, and I'm hoping, because I don't know this at the moment, that when they start shipping out, that there's going to be a lot fewer issues than other headsets. Keep in mind, a lot of manufacturers, including HP and Meta, have had quality control issues. Remember my video of the Meta Quest 3? I had to go through over 5 different VR headsets to get one without any display issues, like dead pixels and Mura. But that is no excuse, and I hope Pimax can improve the quality control, because I do feel the Crystal Light is a fantastic headset, and for a lot of you out there, it does make the most sense as an upgrade. Field of view wise, well, in terms of my measurements, I get 102 both sides with the Crystal Light. With the VR1, I get 120 horizontal and slightly less at 96 vertical. In practice, there is a difference, but the difference isn't massive. But that's because of the way I like to wear the VR1. If you are happy to really squash the lenses to your eyeballs, then actually the VR1 starts to really show its true field of view potential, and you can get probably 125 degrees even with that headset. But for me personally, I don't really like to wear a headset like that. So let's now talk about the price. Of course, the Crystal Light is a phenomenal price. It really, really is. And there's a reason why I've been so excited about this headset. This is the true Reverb G2 replacement. And I still feel that it's a great upgrade for Quest 3 owners as well, that are looking to enjoy high fidelity PC VR, particularly seated PC VR, because I still would recommend the Quest 3 for gaming. But for flight simulation, the Crystal Light is superb. But really, when comparing to the premium high-end prosumer headsets out there, it is fair to say that the Somnium VR1 is the better headset. Of course it is. And that's without mentioning all of the features available with the Somnium VR1. it has eye tracking, it has hand tracking, and a very nice mixed reality experience. The software is so versatile and flexible. You can cut out your own mask for your own cockpit. There's some really sort of industry leading features that only commercial and enterprise headsets would dream about having, but for us, you know, flight simmers out there, which is, I think, mind-blowing. So there is a lot of potential with the VR1. You can do so many things with it, and I truly believe it is a weapon for the training segment, not to mention for us as flight simmers as well. So when it comes down to it, the prices of the VR1 and Crystal Light are very, very different, and you do have to pay a lot more to get that extra premium experience with the VR1. And as I fly around this mountain a million times, it makes me realize that right now we are in a great position, particularly the PC VR community, because we've got a headset for pretty much every budget. And one thing that I love, I mean really love about the Crystal Light, is you do get a premium high-end visual experience for not a high-end price. It's as simple as that. I mean, look at the visuals in this thing. It is superb. And I'll say again, having not used the Crystal Light for over a week, I've come back to this headset feeling so impressed, because it really is a phenomenal display for the money. I don't really know how Pimax are getting away with it. I hope they're making some money on this, because they need to. This panel is expensive. Glass lenses are expensive, but they're seemingly able to sell the headset for an incredible price point. I actually prefer this to the standard Crystal, even though it doesn't have eye tracking, which is a big deal, admittedly, for DCS Will fans, but for simming like this, makes no difference at all. Probably 3 frames per second max. You know, I prefer the Crystal Light because it's so comfortable. I can wear this for 3 hours non-stop, no problems at all, and I don't have to worry about a battery. Now let's just go through a few things of each headset that I don't like. First, starting with the Crystal Light. I don't like the fact that this headset does get a little bit warm after about an hour. That is because there's no fans in the headset. But it's no warmer than, say, a last generation headset such as a Riva G2, Vive Pro 2, and actually the big screen beyond gets hotter than this, but it is worth mentioning. Also, of course, the quality control at the moment is questionable, so if you do get a good Crystal Light, then it is fantastic, but it is fair to say there is some dodgy ones out there. I just hope that if you do get a dodgy one, you can return it with no issues, which I do feel, again, Pimax are getting better at that kind of thing. Especially if you're a member of my Discord, by the way, because they do check that regular. So there's a tip for you. What else? I mean, I suppose there is chromatic aberration in this, a bit stronger than the VR1. I don't really like the form factor, even though I say it is comfortable. I just wish it was a bit smaller. Oh, one more other thing I forgot, which is a big deal. Tracking. The Crystal Light has inside-out tracking, and I think it works really well, especially for seated flight simulation experiences, which is what this channel is all about. And it will save you a whole heap of cash because you don't have to worry about base stations. With the VR1, I would recommend, well, that you get at least 2 base stations, which obviously is a lot of money on top of the headset. Sorry, I forgot to mention that point. So for the Somnium VR1, really the main issue for me is the comfort. I hope they can sort that out. At the moment, local dimming isn't very good either, but again, that hopefully will be fixed for the final version. What else? That's kind of it, really. I suppose, as I say, the audio, it's a shame it doesn't have any audio, but to be fair, I think Somnium decided, instead of using cheap sounding audio, they'd rather not bother at all. So in some ways, I kind of, you know, agree with that. And I guess performance, well, no, I think performance is quite good with the VR1 because you can run it at 80% resolution in Steam VR and get pretty damn good performance in MSFS, about 50 frames per second, with a 4090 that is though. And of course, it's very good in terms of future-proofing because once the 5090 comes out, you'll be able to run it at native resolution, which will absolutely blow your socks off. Simple as that. Anyway, folks, I'll leave that with you, and that's pretty much my thoughts on the Somnium VR1 versus Pimax Crystal Light. If you think about it, the Crystal Light stands up incredibly well to the highest of high-end VR headsets when you think about the price, simply because it does have that very special panel, the QLED 2880 per eye display. It is fabulous, and as I'm looking at it right now, I would be quite happy with this headset. If I had the Crystal Light and nothing else, I would be very happy with this. But at the same time, if you want the best of the best, it is a VR1. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I truly appreciate it. Please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.